Okay, welcome to the second part. Again, sorry it had to be two parts, but instead of making one great big long one, I made two short ones, and I need to do that in order to go into enough detail so that it's useful to you guys. So here's the second part. Enjoy. With those checks, I'm satisfied that everything is operating correctly. So I will take my hammer and a punch, and I will knock in those taper pins. Taper pins are non-adjustable, so I feel confident knocking those in because those guys are going to be in the right spot. This collar back here is adjustable, and so he's going to be, where he is. That will be adjustable. So let's knock these guys in, and we'll call it good. All right. On these, on the pins that go on the worm gears, make sure you get them less than flush. Make them down a little bit. They make the pins of the right length so that it won't stick out both sides. So, also when you put them together, make sure you don't put a long one in the short one. Just because I'm very thorough, I'm going to check them again. Okay, everything's good. I think I can lock down that one stop collar. There it is. Make sure everything's snug but not super tight. It's all lubricated properly. Nice and tight. All right. I'm going to put just a small dab of grease on each one of those worm gears. Have it. All right, now for some of the extraneous stuff. We have the sawdust deflector. That's what I'm going to call it. That's this guy. Sawdust deflector. As you can tell, he's got those two screws and the spacers. Okay? Two screws and the spacers. Well, Robert, no one's ever going to look in there and see these things. Why did you wire wheel the heads of the screws and the spacers? I'm funny like that, I guess. Okay, so the screws go through here. Okay, we have reached that point where we can lock these guys down nice and tight. All right, so let's do that. 9/16 if I'm not mistaken. Alright. Somewhere there's a technical manual at the factory that tells you how many foot-pounds those are. I've never seen it. Because that top is so heavy, I'm going to call up all of my friends to come over here and help me put that on there. Yeah, I'm doing it alone. And at least I'm smart about it. I got the top on the table. I'm just going to slide it onto this. And I have checked already, and it's going on the right way. So here we go. There we go. I didn't hear it break anything or anything. It seems kind of weird. Okay. Gonna have to get it over a little bit. Another quick tip from old Restoration Apocalypse here. Just like there's 5 screws that hold the guts inside, there's 5 screws that holds a table onto the base. And one of those 5 screws has this washer that has the end cut off. I know that looks like something like I would do just to make it fit, but that's actually factory, and I'll show you where this one goes. If we get come underneath here and you see there's one bolt in every corner, except there's also one here. This is the back side. And you can see that this guy is gonna go like this because he doesn't have the clearance that the other guys do being in the corner. Okay, so if I can get this started upside down with one hand, that'll be great. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's where that guy goes right there. These can be a little challenging to line up all the time, so get all of them in just a little bit. When I say a little bit, I don't mean an eighth of a thread, because these are those fine threaded bolts. Screw them in 4 or 5 threads, okay? But don't tighten them down. Now I have all 5 bolts in and screwed in 4 or 5 threads. Now I can tighten them down. Another quick little tip. The screws that hold the fence guides on. The 2 on the front, okay, have nuts on the back. The 2 on the back just screw into the casting. These are casting on the top. Again, these are fine threads, so they're sometimes tough, especially on the back, because they don't have a nut you can grab to unscrew. You just got to unscrew them with a screwdriver. See, this one's coming right out. That juice is doing its job. And don't lose the spacers in there. Those are kind of crush fit. They're die cast washer or spacers that are kind of crush fit, and you can either put little shims in there, or you can kind of crush those a little bit to get the table or the 2 guides exactly parallel so that your fence rides real nice. We'll get into that later, but something to be aware of. Nuts on the front, no nuts on the back. 2 guides and all that hardware. Half hour on the wire wheel. These are pretty crusty in here. I'm gonna have to spend some time on those, but I'll spare you the wire wheel. We'll get back for installation. So I painted up the 2 steel hand wheels, and you'll notice, like per usual, I did not mask them off. So we're going to take these over, and I found that these perform real well being polished. So we'll take them over to the other side of the grinder and we will polish them. So here's the grinding station. We have the wire wheel on this side, but on the other side over here, we have a muslin buff. So we're going to use that for these guys, and it's the same process. So let me get my, still got to wear the full face shield. Okay, spin it up, put some buffing compound on there. I use a white chrome buffing compound over steel. For instance, here's just a screw head. I'll show you how quick this goes. This is the screw. So this is a grease-based compound, meaning that it's not glue-based like, say, Polish Array or something else, but it's grease-based. So I normally will go over these with a degreaser when I'm done and then oil them, because it'll get all that grease-based stuff off there. You can see that black soot looking like stuff. That'll comes right off. Anyhow, it polishes up really nice. Moving along, the additional accessories, we have the miter and the fence. Miter is pretty dirty. Fence is also pretty dirty. Let's take these apart. First thing we're going to do is undo this screw. Got my little punch. There we go. Punched them out. Don't let me lose those. Okay, he's off. This guy should just unscrew. He's a candidate for the wire wheel.
locks in both ways. So this guy locks into both the knob and to the base. We'll take care of all of that. These two guys, two mounting points here. We'll want to take these off, we'll polish these guys, and we'll wire wheel and paint the main casting, die casting. Boy, these guys are screwed up too. Might run a tap down there to chase these threads also. Alright, and we have this guy. What do we got down there? There's a screw on the other side that retains him. Yeah, that's just knurled, that's just a press fit. So, when I put that in, that's a poor design. When I put that in, it's also bent a little bit. I'll have to hit that. Maybe I'll use a little dab of epoxy. Okay, so miter gauge is done. Let's move on to the fence. These are pretty good fences. Boy, these are just finger loose, okay. So those guys come out. That means this guy, there's a long rod in here that screws into the end piece. So he should just unscrew. There we go. Here's that long rod. He comes out of the other side. That's this piece. It's a die cast with a steel finger on there. These guys. Two. Some 80-year-old sawdust. This piece looks in pretty good shape. We'll give her the old wire wheel, maybe sand it and paint it. We have the pointer. That screw looks pretty munged up. Hopefully I can get it out. Oh yeah. Another wire wheel deal for these guys. Alright, what else do we have here? Okay, so we have this screw here for the fine adjuster. So now this guy should come out. There we go. Boy, a lot of crap in there too. What else do we have here? We have two pins that we got to drive out. This one and this one. There we go. It's kind of funny and he's spring loaded. Okay. So he comes out, another heavy casting. This piece here is the adjuster. So I could not back him out. I could probably screw, nope, can't screw him all the way through either. So that guy will just have to remain in place and I'll just lube him up as best I can. We got some dirt daubers or something in here. Moth maybe. So I'll clean all that up too. Okay, so that's one. And then we have another one for the main one here. Let's see. Camera shot. Also, he is as I thought. He's knurled on one end. So that other one probably is also. Let's see if we can get this guy out. This knob is going to unscrew, I think. There we go. And the piece in there comes out. That's an eccentric, okay? So that's a cam. That's how it locks. Here is short, and then when it rolls around, it pushes that thing. So you guys know the drill by now. 80 grit, random over sander, top. I have painted all the edges so that when I grind the top, I won't need to, it'll take off all that paint. I've also painted the interior edge here of the plate. Just a little detail that I cooked up when I was doing that. So on this one, I think I'm going to use lube. I'll do it wet because I'm inside today because it's cold outside, and I don't want all that dust kicking up in my shop. So here we go. So here's the deal with this. This guy must have been a painter. There was latex paint on everything here. That lubricant gets full. It's full of grit now. So upon occasion, you gotta wipe it off like this, and then reapply it and go back to town on it. That helps lubricate and keeps your sandpaper from clogging. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm just going to do this section here first, and then so you can see the contrast between this section and an unsanded section. Okay, round number 2. See, she's getting better already. Getting quite a bit better, actually. So, I mean, that's the process. I'm just going to do it for the next hour. Okay, so the various accessories have all been wire wheeled, painted, primed, ready to go. So let's put them together. First we have the little door. This is pretty easy. This guy just slides in. This guy's got the D-shaped deal that slides on, and he gets tightened down with just a regular screw. Now, when I put this onto the door, the amount that this thing screws in and out will determine how tight this is. So that's 1. Okay. 2, the miter. Okay, what do we got here with miter? We have this countersunk screw, and you can see this is all polished up. So this guy goes in here, and then we'll tighten him down. Not too tight, because we want them to turn. Probably put a drop of red Loctite or something in there on those threads. Okay, and then we have this double threaded, one on either side. The short thread goes into the rod there. Probably put a little red Loctite on that guy too, make sure he gets a washer. And yes, I did not only wire wheel that, I polished it. The first step in solving your problems is admitting you have one, so I maybe have a little polishing problem there. Okay, these two guys, these are just fillers for these 2 threaded holes here that you can thread other accoutrements into should you have them. I don't. So we'll screw these 2 guys in. And yes, I polished these 2, so don't even ask. Threads on that guy. Okay, the stop, of course, works. You can rotate this in for your various stops here. And these various stops will also have, the fine adjustment via those screws and lock nuts. So I'm just going to leave this guy back here for right now. Well, you know what? I'm going to put him in here. I'm going to put him, and I'll have to check that to make sure that that's square. All right, what else do we have here? Oh, we have one more thing here. We have the pointer, which, yes, is polished. I'm sorry. And that just gets held in by the set screw. And this set screw is not like an Allen key, it's just a standard slotted set screw. Again, when I do the setup of the saw, I will check this for accuracy, and you can rotate this guy like this. Let's see if I can show you. you can rotate him like this for, I'm going to put it right on 90 right now. I don't know if that's right, but for a couple of degrees either way, so that you can set that up. Let's get this guy tightened down just so I don't lose him. Okay. Then we have the fence. So I got the fence on the pole right now, and I'm going to call it a pole. It's got the scale on there and everything else, and it has these cuts in it. You can see here. Those cuts engage with this guy right here. You can see him for your fine adjustment. Okay? So that's how that all works. And as you can see, if I put this in here, once he goes in, you can fine adjust them, and then you pull them out, and you can get your gross adjustment. So, I'm going to leave the pole out for right now, just because it's easier to work with. And what we'll do is, we will put in a screw right here. It's just a little guy that retains the fine adjustment, so that he can't fall out on you. I'll show you that too. See, he's got this little recessed area right there where the screw goes in and stops him from falling out. Now he can't come out. He hits that screw. All right, I have them in there just really light right now, but I'll put the wood to them right now. I got to get a punch. So these two splined pins here retain the lock on the inside and this handle on the outside. And I showed you, this guy here has that screw in them for adjustment. You screw them in and out for when this guy, so you can get him to lock down tight on that pipe. I didn't want to lose anything, so I put these pins in, but I didn't hammer them home. I wanted to show you that they're splined and they go in just like that. I'm going to get them flush with a punch. Absolutely flush. You can see I got those polished real nice too. All right, so now the actual fence part of the fence, I guess. This piece. It is sheet metal over a casting, and it's pretty heavy. I was kind of surprised, honestly. Okay, and it's got two different size screws. There's 9/16 that go on this end and a 1/2 inch that go on the other end. I have new hardware for these, new washers. I didn't want to wire wheel the old ones. They were just washers, so I didn't want to wire wheel them. Yes, these heads are polished and they are original screws because, again, they are the fine thread. Now, you can find fine thread stuff that's not that big a deal, but it's a special trip for me, so, or a special Amazon order, so if I can save those, I will, and these are, of course, in good shape once I polish them up. Okay. And now, this guy, this is the lock. This part here will go around the tube at the far end, and this rod travels all the way down here and comes out right here. Okay, it's a little tough to get in because it's so long, but let me do what I do. Went right in. Must be my lucky day. Okay, this guy's got a little fiber washer that goes on him, and then this knob goes on there. And I like this knob on this end because if you want to get it tighter, all you got to do is tighten this down, and it determines where your lock is. So that's really nice. I like that, having that on this end. Flip around so you can see it. And I got in there too much already. And I have new washers for this end, but the same old bolts. These are 1/2 inch. And these are not fine threaded. It seems weird to me, but what do I know? Okay, so we'll get this guy down. These two guys, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. All right, one other thing for the fence. Here we are. Of course, polished this guy to a mirror polish. He's the pointer, and I also polished the head of those nice domed head of that screw. And that is your indicator. So we'll make sure you can see that, and we'll screw this guy in. He just points in this little window here. There you go. That's all there is to the fence. Now, I guess we'll take you over to the actual saw, and we will reinstall the fence guide, pipes, or whatever you want to call them. So let's go over there. Okay, these are pretty straightforward too. I have polished these nicely machined bolts, and I have also wire wheeled these spacers. Bolt goes in, spacer goes on, and we're going to put the spacer, it's got this radius area. That radius area goes against this. We're just going to do both of them because I can do that. And we'll get them started. That's all we're doing is starting them right now because we want to get both of them in before we tighten anything down. Again, fine thread on these. Everything on this saw is a fine thread. They didn't care how much it cost. They just wanted to make the best. Okay, now, as I recall, when I took these off, the threads inside were a little munged up. Not too bad, but a little bit. So we're just going to lube them up before we put them in. And I'm going to put them in by hand. I would probably normally use a power driver here, but I'm not. I want to make sure that this guy is not going to get too bad. They got about 500 threads, and it's a fine thread, so you're turning quite a long time. Something to be made aware of, the way that they designed this, is those screw heads are sunk into here. So when that clamp comes by with your fence, it'll pass over them. It won't get caught on them. So even though this guy, see, he's a little munged up in there, I've got to turn it a little harder than I'd like to, but there's nothing I can do. I don't have a fine tap. I have the coarse one, but not the fine one. It's not too bad, but it's irritating. And I'm trying to keep that spacer, the radius part, against my rail here. Okay, now he's tightening it down. Nice and tight. He is countersunk. That's very good. Guy's nice and tight. Give it one more shot. Put the wood to him. Put the wood to him. Okay, rinse and repeat on the other side. Make sure that you can see the scale. The scale is pointing out, and that the little cut, that the fine adjustment engages are properly located. All right, we're getting down to it. We're getting to the nitty gritty here. We have put in electrical. As I recall, let's have 2 screws that hold him in. One in the upper, one in the lower. Yeah, you see the holes right there. And as you remember, these are all tapped, I think. And this guy's gonna be a bear to start because he's so short. Wow. That's awesome. I don't know why I polished the heads on these. They're inside the case. I probably didn't know where they were going when I was polishing them. I just had a pile of them there. There's 2 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Nice. Good there. Now for the gauge here. Let's see. He's good. He's good. And look how I polished up this guy. Mirror finish on that. There we go. Nice. All right. Now the wheels. And they also have these fiber washers that go on first. So put the fiber washer on. Then they have a big and a long key that goes in there. So we'll get that guy in there. And then we can slide on the wheels. Don't those look nice? I polished those up too. Can slide on the wheel, make sure the key lines up. There we go. Give him a little bit of space, and then we'll tighten this guy down. So I get as tight as I can this way, and then I'll come through the face here, and I have my long Allen wrench here so I can really sock them down. There we go. Yeah, nice and tight. And then we'll put the lock in. Again, 100 threads per inch. Man, does that all look good. I did a really good job polishing that stuff. All right, so same thing on this side here. Fiber washer. Man, do these things spin easy. Holy jeepers. That's nice. Then lastly is the door here. The door in. How tight is this guy? Oh, we can tighten him up. Let's see how he works out. Oh, nice and tight. Look at that. Wow. All right. Only thing left to do now is put that entirely rebuilt motor in. That's it. Wow. What a journey with this saw. All the way from rusty, motor doesn't work, no belts, grimy, piece of junk. Okay, none of these are really pieces of junk, but to this. This saw now is as good as new. The internals were in excellent condition. This was not a shop saw in a cabinet shop or anything like that. This was some homeowner's saw that didn't get used a whole lot. So all the internals were great. The arbor bearings had been redone at least once. I showed you that in the video, but man, what a saw. Table cleaned up nice. There's one little spot of pitting right over in the corner there, but you can't hardly tell. Motor runs like new. This is an absolutely fabulous saw. What would I do different? You know, not much, honestly. This saw is so nice. I thought about taking the table to get Blanchard ground so it would truly be just like new, but that's a little out of my price range. About twice what I paid for this saw. So, great saw. We'll do the reveal coming up. Please like and better yet, subscribe to the channel. That helps me an awful lot, and I can do more of these kind of restores or revisions. Thanks so much again.